What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Thursday morning episode of the Daily Juice Podcast. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all of my socials at Sports Talk Matt. And yes, the streak lives on. Now, 14 is my lucky number. So I was feeling pretty good about the bet streak yesterday. If you don't know what that streak is, we have hit 14 consecutive Daily Juice, BettingPros, picks of the day. 14. If you played one unit or to win one unit on all 14 plays, you'd be up 14 units in 14 days. This has been primarily with NBA player props, but not only with NBA player props, primarily with NBA player props, because that's what happened yesterday. NBA player props, Max Christie, points, rebounds, and assists. Thank you very much, sir. Under 23.5. Cha-ching. Cash it. Isaiah Hartenstein also got to the window for us as well there with his points, rebounds, and assists going over. Capitals money line and overtime wins. Capitals puck line does not. 3-1, up a unit. Little bit of a dent into the awful Tuesday I had. Still down for the week, but we've got 3 NBA player props, and I have two college basketball bets to give you guys. Now, you might go, oh no, Matt, it's college basketball. You might. I would agree. 2 things in my favor. 2 things. The first, I hit UConn minus 3.5 last night. They won by 4. Maybe the luck is turning. Maybe the being on the wrong side of the hook is going to stop. So we are on the right side of the hook there. And it's Arch Madness. If you guys do not know, I moved to Omaha, Nebraska in 2004. There, I did Afternoon Drive, and I was the pre- and post-game show host for Creighton basketball, and most of it in the Missouri Valley. Actually, all of it when I was in Omaha, in the Missouri Valley Conference. 5 straight years going to Arch Madness. Then I moved to Des Moines, where I covered Drake in the Missouri Valley Conference, and went to 2 more years of Arch Madness in St. Louis. I've been to 7 of these, okay? I've been to 7 Arch Madness. I then became the first Rivals writer for Creighton University, and so I did that for an additional 5 years. So basically, I was covering professionally Creighton basketball for 10 years, but they had moved to the Big East, so I had stopped going to Arch Madness. But with Drake and Darren DeVries, who's now at West Virginia, I was heavily involved still with the Valley. And the Valley starts today. Arch Madness in St. Louis. I've got 2 bets on the first 2 games to give you guys here today. So, I'm not going to lie, picking the player props is getting hard. When you're having a streak like this, you're like, my goodness. Because it's not just the picks that I make. Mike Mayo's got to make it too. Okay? So I got to get 3 good ones because I don't know which one he's going to pick. It's a nice little collaboration we got going on between Mike and I. I give him 3. He picks one he likes the best. So far, that's cashed 14 straight times. He's been pretty good at picking which bet he thinks is going to be the best bet of the day. So can we get to 15? Maybe. But at some point, this is going to stop. Just FYI, okay? At some point, we're going to lose. But 14 straight is 14 straight. Unbleeping believable. If you guys want to tool around with the BettingPros, either a bet system, prop bet cheat sheet, prop bet analyzer, here it is. And this is why you guys have to watch and listen to the podcast. Because for those of you who are going to fast forward on this, you're going to miss out. bettingpros.com/trial. That will give you 7 days for free of access to the prop bet cheat sheet, the prop bet analyzer, and all the betting systems on the on BettingPros for all the prop bets you could want. It also with college basketball, NBA, NHL, all of it. Free access, full access to every projection, all the data, all the information, everything I use every night to make player props. You guys can have access to it simply by logging on to bettingpros.com/trial, TRIAL, and that will give you a 7-day free trial to the BettingPros app and bettingpros.com. Again, bettingpros.com/trial to get a 7-day free trial of everything I use for the prop bet cheat sheet and the like. If you are curious what I'm talking about from a systems perspective, what is the systems? Well, BettingPros systems are on the app and behind the paywall mostly. It's our new BettingPros tool for betting systems. It's designed to help you find winning strategies and make smarter bets. You can customize your betting systems by sport, by bet type, and time frame to find the best opportunities using real-time data and expert analysis. Track the performance of different betting systems over time and optimize your bets to increase your chances of success. Download the BettingPros app today. Just told you how to do that. Or go to bettingpros.com/systems to elevate your betting strategy and make smarter bets today. And use the sign-up code bettingpros.com/trial to get full access to all the systems and all the data that you guys may be after. All right, let's talk about the plays here. Let's go to an old friend. I mispronounced his name a while ago, but Zachariah Risache. I came close when I said it last time. Risache. This missed last time. So maybe he's going to miss again. But the prop bet analyzer and the prop bet cheat sheet, they are in agreement here with this. It is a 5-star play. It is a positive 34% EV bet. Points, rebounds, and assists, we're going back to the under for Zachariah Risache. Now, the last time out against Milwaukee, way under. He had 11. It was set at 18.5 in his last game against Milwaukee. It went way under. But it was 19.5 against Memphis, and it flew over. He had 28. He scored 27 points. That was the most points he scored in a long time. That was a fluke, anomaly. Against Oklahoma City, prop was 16.5. He had 23, scored 12 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. Had a good game against OKC. But the two previous games against Miami, 17.5 and 17, both went under with 17 and 6. And one of the games against Miami, he scored 2 points, had 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. In his last game out against Milwaukee, Risache was 3 of 10 from the field, 0 for 1 from behind the from the free throw line, and 1 for 6 from behind the 3-point line. Now, against Memphis, where he scored 27 points, he was 5 of 7, which is really unusual. He's a streaky shooter from behind the arc, but you can pretty much say if he hits his threes, he's going to go over this number of 17.5. It opened at 16.5. It was bet to 17.5. We're going to bet the under 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Zachariah Risache. Bet number 2, C.J. McCollum. Let's bet an over. We have 2 unders and 1 over. C.J. McCollum for New Orleans against Houston. Points and rebounds. The number is set at 20.5. Projection is for 24.1. This is a 5-star play, a 25% positive EV bet, and a bet that's basically, 50% of the time head-to-head has hit for C.J. McCollum. In the last game out against Houston on the 26th of December, way under, 15. The line was 24.5 at the time. It went way under. For McCollum, the only game he has gone over in his last 6 games is against Utah. It was set for 23.5. He had 28 because he scored 25 points. Okay. He scored 25 on the 2nd of March against Utah. He scored 43 on the 13th of February against Sacramento. But in between, 16, 12, 13, 19, not a ton of points being scored. Last time out against the Lakers, his prop was set at 21.5, under by 13 points. Shot 4 of 11, 1 of 5 from behind the 3-point line. For C.J. McCollum, only grabbed 3 rebounds. The rebound numbers pretty much are 3, 4, 3, 3, 4, 4, 3, 6, 7 for that game back against Sacramento, but mostly it's 3 or 4. So really we're coming down here with a number for C.J. McCollum. We're talking about whether or not he's going to wind up grabbing, 17, 18 points, right? I mean, that's how we fly over this with rebounds. If he's into the upper teens scoring, because he's probably going to have 3 or 4 rebounds. So we want to keep him under 18, under 19. This is a pretty good defensive team in Houston, okay? Third against this prop for defense, for points and rebounds. I'm going to play the over, however. We're going to go with CJ McCollum. We're going to watch him to get 18, 19, 20 points, hopefully, here on this, because rebounds, he might get 4 or 5. But let's get the over. Over 20.5 points in rebounds for CJ McCollum. In the games back last year, over on December 19th in 2024 and over on February 22nd, 2024. Both games going over 23 and 34 points, going over 20.5. Prop bet cheat sheet likes this because it's a low number of 20.5. We're going over CJ McCollum, over 20.5 points and rebounds here tonight. And finally, Karis LeVert, points, rebounds, and assists. This is a 33% positive EV play. Again, a 5-star play with a pretty big projection differential of 3.9. The prop is set at 22.5 for points, rebounds, and assists for LeVert of Atlanta up against Indiana. Projections for 18.6. Head-to-head, this has not hit for LeVert. However, his last 3 games have been pretty good. His last 5 games have gone over his points, rebounds, and assists prop. Last 3 games went over the projection number here for LeVert of 22.5. He had 28 against Milwaukee last time out. He had 33 against Memphis, and he had 29 against OKC. But that snapped a 4-game stretch where he was under this number for all 4 games. However, the prop has been normally set 18.5, had 21. 18.5 had 21. 18.5 had 29. Then the books adjusted, propped it up to 21.5, got 33. 20.5 went to 28. So we're selling high on this for LeVert in this game. This might be a little bit scary, but you got to trust the math on this, okay? Just how we are here math-wise. With 22.5, that's the highest this number has been, let's see, all season. We've never gotten this point. So when you're this high for points, rebounds, and assists for LeVert, this is where you just see the books keep on raising the number, and he keeps on dropping it. At some point, it's going to go under, and at some point, it starts to move down. So this is the prop bet cheat sheet basically saying, okay, this number on our projections is too high. Last time out was 28, so he still went over 22.5, but the math is saying, okay, he's overperforming what he's supposed to perform here. Indiana's not the best team defensively, so that's one of the kind of worries on this. Like, defensively, they're not great on this, but on the season, it's only gone over 29% of the time for Karis LeVert. Trust the math. Under 22.5 for Karis LeVert here. Points, rebounds, and assists. Okay, so 3 NBA player props. LeVert, point, rebounds, and assist, under 22.5. McCollum, points and rebounds, over 20.5. And Ricochet, points, rebounds, and assists, under 17.5. At some point, we're going to miss, all right? I don't know when, but 14-0 is 14-0, and at some point, that's going to miss. Now, maybe Mayer will go crazy and take one of these next 2 bets, but I don't think so, because Arch Madness begins really pretty early in the day. So generally speaking, we like to have the pick of the day sit for a little while so more people can bet it and be aware of it, because we're starting at noon Central Time in St. Louis with Southern Illinois against Indiana State in the 8-9 game. We have Illinois State, the 5 seed, taking on Missouri State, the 12 seed, in the 2:30 game. It's all Central Time. Then Murray State, the 7 seed, battles Evansville in the 10 seed. And then Illinois Chicago, the 6 seed, battles Valpo, the 11 seed. Let's just take a look at the top bracket. The winner of Southern Illinois and Indiana State will play Drake. The winner of Illinois State and Missouri State will play Belmont. That's tomorrow, Friday. Let's just focus on the first game of the day. This has been a bet for me, and somebody made a joke about it on Twitter and said, I'm guaranteeing you're going to bet this, and they're absolutely right. I have been betting the under in the first game of Arch Madness forever. Why? It's dead. It used to be called the Scott Trade Center. Now it's called the Enterprise Center. No one's there. You're talking about a 3-18 team in Southern Illinois and a 14-17 team. Sorry, 13-18. I said 3. 13-18 team, Southern Illinois, against a 14-17 team in Indiana State. They're both 8-12 in the Valley. So the Salukis bring people. Okay, there'll be some Saluki fans, but the problem is it's noon. It's lunchtime. So unless you live in St. Louis, are you driving all the way to St. Louis from Southern Illinois? You driving that whole way, which I gotta look. I think it's 2 hours. You're driving that whole way to watch one game at lunchtime, meaning you're leaving your house really early in the morning to drive all the way down there. Unless you're in a bus or you're in the band or you're like a pep rally person, like you don't care about this game. Same thing with Indiana State. Like that's a hike from Indiana to get over to St. Louis for what could be one game. And again, the time at noon, this is a 9 a.m. 10 a.m. Pacific time start, 1 p.m. Eastern time start. This is a game in which these teams come out and they're like, all right, fine. We're not going to win. We got to play the 1 seed tomorrow. That's horrible. And we have to figure out what to do here. Now, tomorrow, I'll give you a little tip of the cap here, a little look to tomorrow. I don't care who wins this game. I'm on the total. But whoever wins it, bet them in the first half against Drake on the first number. The first number, whatever it is. Whatever the first number is, take the points, bet the team that plays. Because they will have played a game on the court. And more people will show up for the games on Friday than they will for the games on Thursday. Just how it works with travel. Drake will have a lot of people there, though. Drake fans are jacked up. They're the 1 seed. They're excited. There'll be a lot of Drake fans there. But Drake will win the game. But, Indiana State, if they hit threes, then they run. Indiana State could stay in it at the half. I don't know what the number is going to be. I'll be curious to see what that number is going to be. But regardless, these two teams just played. This is sort of a strange deal because Southern Illinois is a, rival of Creighton for a long time. This is a 1-point win for Southern Illinois, 80-79 against Indiana State. What's interesting about these teams is, like I mentioned, they just played, and Indiana State scored 95 on them. They dropped 95 on them. Only 77 were dropped, and it was the only meeting of the season between these two teams. Now, on the road this year, or away from home, Indiana State was 15-2 to the under. 15-2. So the Salukis were 6-7 or 7-6 to the under, but their final 3 games all went over, including the game against Indiana State, where the total was 157.5. Keep that in mind here. 157.5. And it went over by 14.5 points. Why? Because Indiana State scored 95 points. You don't think the Salukis have been staring at game tape ever since? You don't think that Scott Nagy, the head coach of Southern Illinois, has been in his players' behinds about their defensive effort and how poorly they played and how embarrassing they were defensively? Now, they're not a great defensive team anyway, but to give up 95 points to Indiana State in their last game, and they're going to see the same team, the same plays, the same scouts. I expect a much better defensive effort out of Southern. And if Southern wins the game, this game's going under. Okay? I disagree with Ken Palm. They have it at 159. The total is set for 157.5. I hope this thing climbs. Let it climb, let it climb, let it go. Okay? Under. Southern Illinois and Indiana State under 157.5. I hope that you guys get 158. I hope you get 159. I hope you get, right up to, my guess is the pros are going to bet this right to Ken Palm's projection. But this building, man, I'm telling you, this is not a typical college basketball building. This is a hockey arena where the Blues play, and sightlines aren't great. They're okay. They're not great. And for these kids who haven't played in it all year, Under 157.5 for Southern and Indiana State for 1.1 units. And finally, we go to the second game between these two of Arch Madness, Missouri State and Illinois State. Illinois State's going to win this game by 5 points, according to KenPom. That's the number, 5. Well, here's my thing with this right now, looking at the way that Illinois State has played this year. Illinois State did not end the year well at all. At all. Illinois State, this is almost like a second chance for them. They beat Evansville by 9, laying 10.5 in their final game of the year. But before that, they lost to Southern Illinois, the team that's playing before them, by 9. Against Missouri State, they laid 3, and they won by 2. That was 3 games ago on the road. The first time they played Missouri State at home, they were laying 8.5, and they won by 6. They are 0-2 ATS so far. Here's the problem. 5 consecutive losses and 7 out of 8 losses straight up for Missouri State. I don't know what motivation they will have going into this game. They are 2-18 in the Missouri Valley Conference. One of two things happen when a team is this bad. Either A, throw out the records, it doesn't matter, we're playing a whole new season, because that's what the coaching staff's going to tell everybody. I mean, that's what you're literally going to hear, a constant refrain out of this. Probably, the whole game and from the sidelines, you're going to hear Missouri State coaches in Quanzo Martin, who's a very good coach, by the way, say, hey, it doesn't matter. We're all good, okay? But this team in the year of 2025, this team has won 2 games. Evansville and Murray State. Both are at home. That's it. They won 2 games in the Valley. They went 2-18. They weren't horrible against the number. Against the number, they were 9-10-1 this year in the Valley. Away from home, they were 9-6-1. They actually were a good team away from home. And as I said, they're 2-0 ATS against this Illinois State team. But I think Illinois State's going to have something here, and I think Illinois State's going to win this game by more than 5 points. And I think we have a chance to see this Illinois State team. The Redbirds aren't bad. They won 3 of their last 4. They lost to Southern on the road, but they beat Bradley, and they beat Evansville at home. They beat Missouri State on the road. That snapped a 3-game losing streak to Northern Iowa, Drake, and Indiana State. Indiana State loss is the only bad one. Losing to Drake and Northern, not that big of a deal. But the Redbirds bring people. Okay, this is, in my experience, the Redbirds bring people. They'll have people in the building. I doubt Missouri State, even though, it's a hometown team, a 9-22 team with a 2-18 record in the Valley. They're not bringing anybody. Illinois State, the Redbirds will have people in the building. They're the 5 seed. They've got Belmont if they win this game, so they got a chance. I mean, I like Illinois State's draw a lot. And look, Illinois State could wind up playing up against Drake, and that could be an awesome game for Illinois State. They lost by Drake to 4 at Drake, 66-62, and then they lost at home to them 84-77, but they haven't been blown out by Drake. So if they play Drake in the semifinals, Illinois State's not going to feel like they don't have a puncher's chance to potentially knock out Drake. That's not a great matchup and a great draw for Drake, to be quite honest. So take care of Missouri State here, then get up against Belmont. Not saying that that's a total walk in the park, but Illinois State beat Belmont at home 81-78, and they only played once. Oh, no, they lost to them 99-97 in overtime in the first Valley game back on December the 4th. So, I mean, they pushed them. On the road, they pushed them all the way to overtime. They lost the game 99-97. So Illinois State can absolutely win that game and then go and take on Drake. So, I like Illinois State to win, Illinois State to cover here, laying the 5 for Illinois State up against a really bad Missouri State team. So, plays for today. Levert, point rebounds and assists, under 22.5. McCollum, points and rebounds, over 20.5. Rishache, points, rebounds, and assists, under 17.5. And it's ISU and SIU. It's a lot of I. It's a lot of similar letters. Indiana State against Southern Illinois, under 157.5 for 1.1 units. And Illinois State laying 5 up against Missouri State for 1.1 units in Arch Madness. My name is Matt Perrault. Let's see if we can go 15 for 15 with the play of the day. Wherever you guys get your podcasts, you can follow me at Sports Talk Matt on my socials, but wherever you guys get your podcasts, it is the Daily Juice.